Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Mullner here with MeteoMark's weather. It is great to have you here with me for this edition of MeteoMark's weather. We're watching a tropical wave in the Caribbean. Could we actually have some sort of tropical system developing by the first or second week of June? It's something we're going to have to keep close watch on here because the Caribbean is going to become much more active here. We're going to be watching a massive moisture plume here as we go out in time. And we're going to be looking at our typhoon out here into the Western Pacific, our first typhoon in quite some time. Is it going to affect any land areas as we look from the northern Philippines to Japan? We'll take a look at all the details for you. And we're going to be watching some very severe thunderstorms across parts of the Northeast, New England. As we get through the rest of your Memorial Day into early Tuesday morning, we're going to be looking across the nation to see which other areas could actually be seeing some very, very strong thunderstorms here, especially into the southern plains. And don't forget, if you haven't watched my Hurricane 2024 Outlook, I have a link in the description down below and at the end of this video. Let's get into it. All right, so looking at the GFS, and I'll switch over to the European model momentarily here. There's our tropical wave here right around Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, down to about the northern coastline of Colombia here and Venezuela. Watch what happens here as we go out in time. Let me just push out a little bit here. You can see it's the only game in town at this point, but watch as we go throughout the week. It moves very slowly, just chugging ever so slowly to the west, with the most rainfall falling right across Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and then down here towards Costa Rica, Panama, and eventually Nicaragua here. Watch what happens here as we head through next weekend. You can see the moisture plume starts to get funneled more towards the north. You can see it's a very strung out area of low pressure here along this trough axis, and it's just going to continue to focus those heavy rains. So towards the end of the week into next weekend, as we get into the time frame of Jamaica, this system is going to be just chugging to the northwest. So this is right around May 29th. So this is only a couple days out. We're heading towards Wednesday, and we'll get into Thursday here. Look at this, the 30th into the 31st. So this is where we do start to see Jamaica towards the end of the week, into the weekend, start to get that heavy rain moving in. I know you definitely need it. And look at this, it really starts to pummel. Now, it's going to be close because the pivot point here on the GFS keeps Jamaica out of the heaviest rainfall, producing a lot of it just east. Very similar to that last area of low pressure. Now, let's see if it just wobbles ever so slightly to the west. Yeah, look what's happening here. This has been happening time and time again, this area of low pressure pulling the system up to the northeast like this. So we'll have to see if there's any chance the system could develop into anything on the tail end of this front. You can see it's got a big ball of convection here, but you can see the rainfall from the Bahamas, especially the southeastern Bahamas, all the way over towards the Caribbean islands here, the northern and northeastern Caribbean islands. As we head through June 4th and 5th, you can see we're still dealing with this system, but look at out here, another tropical wave developing here in the intertropical convergence zone. We're going to have to keep very close watch on this. It does start to get sheared apart ever so slightly, but look at this. Yeah, this is by June 5th. Take it with a grain of salt because we're out beyond 200 hours, but we could have a closed off low developing, potentially maybe our first tropical storm. We'll have to see, but then we get another tropical wave here into the northwestern Caribbean as we head through that second week of June. Now look at it, it's pushing towards, say, parts of Hispaniola and to the northeast here. All right, so for our European run here across the tropics, let's see what's going on here. There is our tropical wave as we head throughout the rest of this week. It's heading westward as we head through tonight into Tuesday here. There's that big ball of moisture here in the southern Caribbean. It's going to be camping out here across southern Central America. And look at that. The European model is a bit more generous here with the rain showers all the way up to Jamaica, Dominican Republic. You can see the axis of the heaviest precipitation moving just through just like this. So it's a system we'll have to keep watch on for any possible development. Right now, there's no outline. But look at this. May 31st, it does start to make a little bit headway westward here into Honduras, very close to Belize and the Yucatan. Just too far to the south, though. Maybe some showers in Belize by June 1st here. But look at this moisture. It just continues to pummel these same areas. Jamaica, you'll be on the outskirts of this. And then look at this, some more moisture up here into parts just south of Bermuda here with that frontal boundary. Now let's see how the European model handles that frontal boundary. It does try to pick up some of the moisture here from our tropical wave right across the northern Caribbean islands here, so it's something we'll have to keep a watch on. Intertropical convergence zone coming further to the north here, so it's right in line with Trinidad, Tobago, almost with Barbados here, so yeah, things are going to start to really solidify here as we head into June. I'm pretty certain our first named storm will be happening sometime here the first part of June. Look at this. Couple areas to watch. Our next tropical wave here across the northern Lesser Antilles by June 3rd. And look at this, lots and lots of moisture. That frontal boundary is the focal point here, and it's going to keep a lot of these tropical waves that are moving through the Caribbean during this time, that moisture overrunning that front and focusing that. Look at this here towards the 4th. The European model going crazy with tremendous copious tropical torrential downpours here across much of the Caribbean, and that just continues here. Look at this. We're on the southwestern edge of this high pressure, and it's just no end in sight. Look at Jamaica all the way up to Cuba, the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Haiti. These areas just getting pummeled with tremendous amount of tropical moisture. Could we see our first tropical system come out of this the first part of June? It's quite possible. And I want to draw your attention out here. Could this actually be some sort of storm here? Let's just back this up. This turns out a cold core system through the last part of May. We're out here by the Azores, by the way. Right here is the Azores. Look at this. It pinwheels to the south as it gets blocked by high pressure, and it may actually become either subtropical or tropical as it heads just south of the Azores here. Something to watch. And as you can see here, there is that big old plume of tropical moisture here from Panama all the way up through Dominican Republic here, Puerto Rico. That's only going to continue as we go out in time here throughout the week into the first part of June. All right, so if we take a look at the GFS, and I'll show you the European. Here's our tropical wave moving into the central Caribbean as we head throughout the early to mid part of this week. That's going to continue westward here, Jamaica and Hispaniola down towards Nicaragua. That's where most of the moisture is going to be headed. As you can see, a lot of it gets caught up into this big storm that's blasting northeast of Bermuda here. Look at the dry air behind it, though. That keeps most of the Yucatan, the Cayman Islands in dry air as we head through Sunday, June 2nd here. And there it is. That tropical moisture continues to plume in the same areas, a little bit more north here in Honduras, and then up through Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. All right, so if we take a look at the European run here, thanks to Tropical Tidbits, look at this. There's that plume of moisture here across the central Caribbean as we head through Wednesday and into Thursday. You see it's nearly stationary, so it's going to start to provide Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, these areas, the Turks and Caicos, with some rainfall as we head through Friday of this week. All right, so if we take a look at our runs here with our precipitation anomalies, as we go through this week, you can see right across the central Caribbean is where our highest precipitation anomaly is. And then we go through that first week of June. This shifts towards Cuba and the Bahamas and South Florida, and then towards Honduras. Unfortunately, it looks like the Yucatan remaining dry here on our CFS climate model. But then look at this as we head through mid-June. Right around June 17th, this anomaly heads to the northwest here, just off the southeast coast and Florida. And look at our intertropical convergence zone really filling in here as we head through the last part of June into July. You can see where things really start to solidify here through the first part of July. Now, as we take a look at our CANSIPS model here, take a look at this. You can see, yeah, this is a big plume of moisture here. This model's doing it a bit more generous here as we head through June. And here is July. You can see this really surging all the way north to the Gulf of Mexico. One thing to note, the whole southeast getting into this positive anomaly as we expect lots of tropical systems to develop. Look at the bullseye right just south of Jamaica here. Look at this. September, October, November, it does start to get dry across South America, but look at even into November here, the Caribbean remaining very wet. All right, so across the Western Caribbean, Central America, this is where things are really going to start to pummel northward here as we head throughout the week. Jamaica, Cayman Islands still look pretty dry, but look at Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Unfortunately, the Yucatan Peninsula, it's going to remain mostly dry this week. Look at Hispaniola over to Puerto Rico. This is where, but here is our big tropical wave plume of moisture, and that really starts the first week of June here. Look at not only Nicaragua, but Jamaica, Hispaniola. These areas are going to be approaching 90 to as much as 125 millimeters of rain. That is a solid 3 to as much as 6 inches of rain. And as we head across the Eastern Caribbean here, look at that. This week, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Hispaniola, over to the Turks and Caicos here in the southeastern Bahamas. That's where you'll see 30 to as much as 60 millimeters of rainfall, about 1 inch to 2 inches on average here. But then as we head to the first week of June, there is what's going on. This is where we're going to start to really push that moisture up here from the southeast. All right, so we have a typhoon out here into the western Pacific, just on the northern edge of the Philippines here. Typhoon Ewiniar here. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can see 100-mile-per-hour winds, max gusts to 120, so it has achieved that. And now it will be weakening as it parallels all the island chains here, especially Japan here. So look at this system. Here's our European run. We are showing that this system by the 28th here. So as we get into Tuesday, it's still going to be a typhoon. It's going to be a minimal typhoon at this point. And then as we parallel Japan here, it's still holding on to characteristics similar to a tropical storm by this point. But you can see this is by the 30th. So this is getting into Thursday here. And it's just paralleling the coast of Japan. Now, we might see some outer bands coming into Tokyo and southeastern prefectures here. So definitely got to keep close watch of this. The good news is these synoptic systems should keep the system moving to the northeast as it becomes more of a cold core system heading towards the Aleutian Islands here. Now, let's take a look at Typhoon Ewiniar here. You can see what's going to be happening with this system as it heads towards the northeast. Look at that, forming that eye. So it's a little bit more strengthening potentially here before it becomes more of a tropical storm in nature as we head throughout Wednesday into Thursday here. You can see paralleling up along Japan here. There's that frontal boundary along Japan here, the Japanese islands. You can see moving those outer bands right around Tokyo in points east here. So as we head through Thursday, this is right around 5 a.m., definitely early morning, we're going to have those outer bands reaching parts of Tokyo. But the good news is the worst of it stays well offshore. Is there anything behind it at this point? We may have a system developing just behind it, but it should be rather weak in nature, potentially following the same path. And then look at this. We might have another type of system here forming just south of Taiwan here in the South China Sea, just east of Vietnam. So definitely something we'll have to keep a close watch because it might make a run here for Hong Kong as we head through that second week of June. So severe weather outlooks here, we're looking at that slight risk continuing throughout the rest of your Memorial Day evening here throughout much of the Northeast and into the Mid-Atlantic down into parts of the South here. And as we head on your Tuesday, look what's going on here. Enhanced risk across Texas. I'm very concerned about tornado action. And as we head through Wednesday, the only good news is we kind of eke it out here to marginal risk here across the Western Plains and then here across Western Texas. As we look at our HRRR future radar here into the Northeast, yeah, we're going to see quite a bit in the way of some rough weather as we get up into the Mid-Atlantic, into the Northeast, as we continue through the rest of your Memorial Day evening itself. We might have another area of firing storms here up into parts of upstate New York and eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey as we head through the overnight hours, that heading up into parts of eastern New England as we continue in time. Definitely got to watch here this evening, though, as we head through New Jersey. Look at that, right around 7 p.m., 8 p.m., the Hudson Valley region, and then right into New York City, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. into the Long Island region. So definitely watching very closely. Some of these storms definitely could become severe. That slight risk continuing. Now look at as we head throughout the rest of Tuesday here. Yeah, an upper level low kicking off some scattered showers and thunder showers here across parts of the eastern lakes, Cleveland area, Buffalo, Binghamton. All these areas could continue to see some shower and thunderstorm activity. Thankfully, none of this will be severe. So this is some great news, this upper level low. Also early Wednesday morning, kicking off some showers and thunderstorms here around the Cleveland area as we head just right after sunrise here for your early morning commute. So plan on that. What's going on here across the South? Well, if we just back this up, parts of the deep South as we head through the rest of Tuesday here. Here's 6 a.m. Tuesday. Yeah, there's going to be some severe weather here across parts of Northeast Texas, Oklahoma. And then look at as we get towards 7 p.m. here on Tuesday. This big area firing some strong to severe thunderstorms as we continue to go in time. This could be rather damaging with lots of tornado action. Definitely got to keep close watch of this. Even up towards the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma here, southwestern part of Kansas. Another complex. But look at this, San Antonio down to Houston. Things could get a little rough here early Wednesday morning, right around 2 a.m., as multiple complexes of showers and thunderstorms occur. Now, here's that frontal boundary, the end of that frontal boundary, heading out towards the Bahamas, skipping most of Florida, by the way. Florida's been pretty dry as of late, but look at this here towards 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Showers and thunderstorms kicking through the Bahamas here. And here it is into the northeast. You can see on Monday evening, there's going to be some rough weather here into the northeast corridor. Here's 7 p.m., and then as we get into 8 p.m., look at that. Yeah, some of these could really pack a punch as they head through some very populated areas here from the mid-Atlantic into New England. Now, as we head through the rest of the forecast period, high pressure is going to be building in here across the east for the rest of the week, which is great news. All the way through next weekend, you can see June 1st here into June 2nd looking really nice. And that high pressure dominating through June 3rd here is going to keep those systems moving up like this. So Southeast Canada and the Midwest is really going to continue to get hit with severe weather potential. It's not till about June 4th and 5th you can see that high pressure retreating off the U.S. East Coast here, June 5th. We start to get some wet weather here into parts of the lakes, Ohio Valley, and eventually into the Northeast towards June 7th and 8th. You can see the pattern really starting to break down here. So, that trophy pattern that we'll start to see that second week, end of the first week, beginning of the second week of June, you start to see that upper level low pattern just kick here across the east as we head into that second full week. You can see our area of high pressure retreated well off the east coast. So our total liquid equivalent precipitation here, as we take a look at the GFS first, as we head through this week, you can see where most of the rainfall is going to lie. Of course, in the Northeast, most of that is on Monday evening here, up to an inch to an inch and a half, close to 2 inches. But look at as we go out here in time, through the first and second week of June, this is where things really start to get crazy across the east. Look at this, 2 to as much as 6+ inches of rain. As we take a look at the European run here, there it is for Monday, I should say, Monday evening, Monday night into the Northeast, Southeast Canada. And then as we continue throughout the week, the plains, central states, and then eventually pushing towards the first week of June. This is where we're really going to start to fill in a lot of the precipitation. Look at down here in Florida, though. Pretty void of a lot of precipitation. All right, so let's take a look at our upper air pattern here. Troughiness continues through the rest of May. Beginning of June, look what starts to happen. A ridge starts to build across the east. So things are looking a little bit more optimistic here for June. Until we get to about June 5th and 6th, this is where the pattern really starts to break down in the east. We get that blocking pattern up by Greenland here, and look at that ridging here across the west. All right, so for our Canadian weather outlook here, we're going to be continuing to see severe weather all the way up here into southern Ontario and Quebec the rest of Monday night, and into early Tuesday. Watch this system as it pulls to the northeast here. You can see over the Canadian Maritimes by Wednesday here. And British Columbia and Alberta dealing with mountain snow, valley rain out here. You can see high pressure, that same high building in from the U.S. all the way across southeastern Canada. That is some great news as we head throughout the rest of next weekend. But then you start to see by June 2nd and 3rd, we're just continuing with lots of systems out here in British Columbia. But look we have a system out here that could produce some severe thunderstorms across parts of Ontario and Quebec. That pushes several waves of energy here towards June 4th and 5th. And we start to see the evidence here of an upper level low just starting to cut off here across southeastern and eastern Canada. That's going to promote a pattern that's more indicative of, unsettledness, slightly cooler temperatures. And you can see severe weather here continuing June 7th here across parts of southern Ontario, Quebec. It's definitely a pattern we have to keep very close watch on. So if we take a look at the European run here for Canada, look at this. Southeast Canada going to see a lion's share of the heavy rainfall here. You can see, look at this, on the order of 80 to as much as 125 millimeters. We're looking at about a solid 2.5 to 5 inches on average here. Even the west coast of Canada getting pummeled here. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. So if we take a look at temperatures this week, the story is going to be heat and humidity across the south and cooler temperatures up here to the north in the 60s in the Midwest, the eastern Great Lakes. As we head towards Tuesday into Wednesday, you see, look at that cooler air, 60s here for the lakes in the Northeast and 90s here along the Gulf Coast. This is just going to continue throughout the week, and this is going to promote, in between, we're going to see that chance of showers and thunderstorms, some severe, that cooler conditions remaining across the Northeast into Friday the 31st. And then look at here into Saturday, we start to moderate temperatures into the 70s, the Ohio Valley into the Northeast. And look at that, looking pretty tempered here. Nice across the east, upper 70s by Sunday, Saturday, and even Sunday. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. The rest of your Memorial Day itself, afternoon and especially evening, we're going to see those severe thunderstorm, damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. Watch out. It does not look good. Keep heed to those watches and warnings. That's going to carry over into Tuesday, although it won't be severe on Tuesday. Cooler temperatures, showery thunderstorms scattered about into Wednesday as well. Maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm. But look at that cooling trend for Thursday. And into Friday, we start bouncing it up back into the lower 70s. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, it's MeteoMark.com. And don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, super thanks. You can smash that super thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.